What's up, y'all? Okay, so my sleep schedule's all over the place and stuff, so I'm just gonna do this, probably upload to YouTube as sort of a this is how I did this video. And then after server reset and after I've got like a couple hours of sleep because I've been up all night again, I will do the next contingency contract daily. But anyway, this is how I did it. So, what is it? CC Contingency Contract, Season 3, Cinder, third daily stage, the Deserted Factory, which I believe was the permanent stage of the last contingency contract. And if you've been on my Twitch channel, then you've probably heard me talk about the Arts Blender before. So I never really had a good stage to show off the Arts Blender. I've only really ever talked about it. But this is the stage where I learned about the Arts Blender from Ekagen's guide. And of course, all credit for the strategy that I'm about to demonstrate, because I'm basically just ripping off of Ekagen's video here. Goes to Ekagen Senpai. And I will briefly explain what we're doing here. So basically, Suzerain has this one talent, Binding Circle. Enemies in range that are slowed are inflicted with Fragile, 20% more damage, only the highest effect of this type is applied. All enemies within her range, Weird Specialist range, or Supporter range, sorry, are all enemies within range that are slowed will take 20% more damage. It doesn't matter what type of damage it is, physical or arts, they just take more damage. And that's a multiplier, on top of multipliers. It functions, has good synergy with, I think, Silence or Prominix. Prominix is the one who can lower enemy res and defense, I think. So those are making adjustments to their stats, and in case of lowering debuffing an enemy's defense, you are increasing damage they take by a flat amount or static amount. In the case of lowering the res, debuffing the res, you're increasing the damage they take from arts by a percentage, because that's how resistance works. With this, it's different. It's a debuff that increases the damage they take from any source by 20%. So that is a, 1.05. No, 1.2 multiplier. I don't know where I was getting 1.05. I was thinking 1/20th, or I don't know. The third skill here, Mastery 3, increases the second talent, that's Binding Circle. It increases the effect at 2 times, so that would take 40% more damage, but it is not necessary to use the third talent. We're actually going to go with the third skill. We're actually going to go with the second skill, because her being able to hit 2 targets simultaneously is phenomenal. Ugh. And then, of course, you just fill the team with arts and slow. And that's what makes it the Arts Blender. So we're basically going to make a kill box where the enemies are going to be slowed to a massive degree, so much so that they're not even moving, really. If I was playing on normal speed, you wouldn't see them move that much. So we're making a kill box where all of the enemies are going to be massively slowed and take massive arts damage thanks to Suzerain's Binding Circle. And just the fact that these operators do a lot of arts damage. Bodenko is also really great for this strategy. Her second skill is what's recommended here. Throw a vial that creates a cloud. All the enemies within the cloud are snared and silenced and receive 60% arts damage every second. That is 60% of her attack, I believe. Gray is also phenomenal. This is an AoE caster who slows on hit. So sort of blending or crossing the boundary between supporter and AoE caster. Her second skill gives her an attack speed buff, and it also increases the duration of the talent's slow, which is right here. Reduce target movement speed for 0.4 seconds. Not super fantastic, but when you consider that it's in combination with an attack speed buff, and the duration is also almost doubled, that works out just fine. The important thing is she is slowing in an area. I can't check here. No, I'm pretty sure Grace check. Well, they're cute anyway. What if I remove the Tom from Tomboy? An alternative to Gray would be Mostima. She doesn't exactly slow, but she does stun all enemies within range, and that can be a good get-out-of-jail-free card. But we're going to be using Gray simply because there's better synergy with the slow tech. Click is there because Click's second talent says both Click and her drone has a chance to stun the enemy. So that's not slow, it doesn't really synergize, but the fact of the matter is we've got so many other slow operators in here that it doesn't really matter. Click is there to stun, and any form of stall is good. Jiraiuki's here for obvious reasons. Her skill 2 turns her shuriken into arts damage, and yeah, it also slows. Blue Poison is here just because she's a really good consistent arts DPS against pretty much frickin' everything. Angelina's here, even though I'm not going to be using her, I think. I remember how I did this right. But she also synergizes well if you happen to have her. I understand not having multiple 6 stars is a thing. Manticore I think is really great, but alternatively you could just use Ethan. And I think Ethan is actually better when it comes to stunning, or slowing, or possibly both. Oh, he binds, he doesn't actually slow. But again, any form of bind or stun or slow is all good stall tech, and we're not necessarily looking to slow. Well, we are for Suzerain's effect, but she procs it herself. It's just good to complement that with lots of slow. So I prefer using Manticore because she does actually slow instead of bind. Yeah. And then Telopsis is there so that we get our skills back off of cooldown rapidly, and you'll see me put that to good use. Saria is here because her skill 3 can also slow, but you don't really need Saria. Any good defender will do. Kuora is recommended. Liskarm might be Liskarm even might be able to tank. What you really need to be wary of is once Faust appears, you need someone who's going to be able to take his hit, his charged shot specifically. So a really solid defender is required for this stage. You're basically going to place them in the corner where they are visible so that Faust targets them and only them. But I'm actually not using Saria for that purpose. Instead, I'd prefer to borrow one of my friend's Mudrocks. Dun 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 dun! Start adding people to your friends list, fill out that support list. It'll help you a lot, because a lot of challenging content and a lot of these CC stages really do require you to have higher rarity operators, unless you go subscribe to Ekogen's channel and follow his Low Star All-Star Guide, which I highly recommend you do. I'll put a link in the description below. Anyhow, this is how I did it. Now you'll notice I didn't bring any vanguards, or sunflowers, or anything of that nature. You also notice that I was following the 10 operator squad size limit, if you're not counting my support. In other words, what I'm trying to say is, you don't need vanguards. You don't need sunflowers. Natural DP gen is enough for this map following this comp. And this comp is also good for the contingency, whatever condition it is, whatever they call them, where your squad size is reduced to 10. I am going to get Saria out there to block the heavy, but for most units will die before they even reach Saria. The other important thing to remember on this stage... Oh, I might have messed up. There you go. Died before he could even reach Saria. So, the other important thing to watch out for on this stage, other than Faust. Oh, see, and I got my deployment order messed up. I should have had Gray out before Mudrock. Well, maybe we can pull it off without Doggo. What is the other thing you need to watch out for on this stage? The other thing you need to watch out for on this stage is... oh right, of course, the Avengers. Once these flamey sword boys come around, you absolutely can't let them reach your defender. Because they are so strong, they will kill your defender. And that's a lose. So to prevent that, we just drop all of the stun and all of the arts damage on them here, before they even get the chance. If they do manage to come around this side, like I said, we get our skills back fast enough thanks to Telopsis, and we just kill them before they even touch Saria. Really, the only enemies that should reach Saria are these heavy shield boys, but they'll die off quickly enough. The only other enemy would be these stealth units. But they're so weak it doesn't matter. Now these red Avengers are the ones that you really especially have to look out for. So we're going to pop Podenko's skill as often as possible. Oops. See, that was targeting the big boy up top. I wasn't paying attention. Now he's outside of range. But if push comes to shove, we have our secret weapon in Saria's skill 3. And you can see as soon as he's back in Podenko's range, we'll pop this again. And hopefully... nope, that's Saria's death. That's alright. Now we don't have a blocker to stop that stealth boy from getting through. A little sloppy, and it looks like, yeah, one too many mistakes cost me. Alright. Well, consider it a warm-up. This time, I won't forget Gray. Take two. A few things to point out as I'm watching myself. Thanks to Telopsis, our skills come up really quickly, so feel free to use those as often as they come up. These Avengers are a priority target because, like I said, if they ever reach Saria, she will die, as we saw last time. So you absolutely have to stop them at all costs. That means activate all of your skills, like I said, as often as they come up. Oop, and I almost forgot Mudrock. Telopsis is just fine. Caught myself talking again. And with that, the formation's complete. Now that Spore Cloud is actually an AoE effect, so all enemies caught in it will take damage per second. It's pretty powerful, and along with Suzerain's Fragile, it really racks up the damage. So just wait for the enemies to cluster, Unless Suzerain finishes them off first, in which case, never mind. Alright, the first Red Avenger is coming around. But Click's skill will be ready by then, so no worries. And then just let him have it. Oh, wait, not gonna make that same mistake. Wait for the big shield boy to die, and then activate Podenko's skill. She'll target whoever's closest to the goal, and whoever she's focusing on is where she'll throw the vial. So we want to make sure there's no one else in her range before we activate her skill. And then as the Red Avenger's coming around, we can activate Grey to further slow. Podenko again, Click again. And this time, we're going to use Saria's skill 3 because Grey won't be ready in time. Or Willy. Actually, yes he is. And then Faust is actually, I mean, other than his charge shot, not an issue on this stage. He goes down real easy. And there you have it. Alright. Hopefully that was clear enough explanation for things, and I hope you all enjoyed the strategy that I used. I'll be continuing to showcase my entire Contingency Contract Season 3 on Twitch, so catch me live there, or catch it in post here. I'll try to upload videos onto YouTube as sort of a more permanent record moving forward, and also on the off chance when I have a situation come up like today, where my sleep schedule is all over the place and I have to sort of rush and do things in the last hour before the server reset. Anyhow, have a good one. Catch you all later. Oh, and thanks for watching.